Hello and welcome to my presentation on paraphrasing. My goal in this presentation is to give you some of the tools and ideas that you can use to paraphrase and to prevent plagiarism. So, what is paraphrasing? Essentially, you want the same idea as the original writing, but you want to use your own original words. So you change the words, but you keep the ideas. Paraphrasing, as opposed to summarizing, does not need to be shorter than the original. Sometimes paraphrases are even longer than the original. And it should be noted that paraphrasing is part of what you do to protect against plagiarism. You also need to cite the original work, and we will talk about citations later and how to make citations, but at this point we just want to work on the writing aspect and get the paraphrasing down. Okay, so I'm going to give you some tools and some methods for paraphrasing. Use as many tools and methods as you can. But remember, you don't have to change everything. We're looking at a few words from the original is okay. No more than 5 words in a row, definitely the same. This is what Turnitin and other programs will pick up on. Usually there's strings of 5 words. Some people talk about no 2 words in a row, but that's very difficult to do, and 2-word strings are hard to protect against. 5 words or more in a row is going to get you in trouble. So when you do your paraphrase, read it carefully. Check it and make sure it makes sense. Make sure it's grammatically correct. Sometimes students will paraphrase and the paraphrase is very difficult to read. It becomes a complicated sentence. So please check your work after you paraphrase. And in paraphrasing, you need to find quick ways to paraphrase that work. Otherwise, it just takes too long to start doing these kind of papers. So we want to find a few methods that work for you and keep doing those methods and work on it. Like everything else, paraphrasing is a skill that you develop over time. All right, the first tool is synonyms. When you have your original text, look at some of the words, particularly nouns and verbs, and the synonyms. Get synonyms for those and change it in this way. Thesaurus is very good. There's several very good online thesaurus that you can use that will be very helpful. Be a little careful of the translations. Sometimes if you translate and try to find a word that's meaning it similar to a translation, you can get lost and make some mistakes. So you kind of have to be careful that you're keeping the idea when you're using a synonym, because not every word is as effective as every other word. You'll open up a thesaurus, you may see 20 words. You'll need to select the best one from that list of 20 synonyms that really keep the idea the same. And keep working on your vocabulary. We're doing this a lot in our class through extensive reading. We're also going to start working with the academic word list soon. So keep working on your vocabulary, and then you can start to do this without a thesaurus. All right, here is an example sentence we're going to be working with. It's quite a long sentence and quite a complicated, kind of very academic-y sentence. central theme in SLA research is that of interlanguage. The idea that the language that learners use is not simply the result of differences between the languages that they already know and the language that they are learning, but it is a complete language system in its own right with systematic rules. Interlanguage is Gass and Seliger's concept. So this is our sentence that I plagiarized from the internet. So let's start to look at some of the words. So central theme, okay, we can call a central theme a core concept. I'm looking at this and I want to change idea, but I'm not really sure what other word can I use for idea. I can use concept, but I've already used that, so let's go to a thesaurus. And here's what I found in the thesaurus. Something understood, plan, an idea, belief, concept, conclusion, design, feeling, form, intention, interpretation. Wow, look at all those words. I decided to use belief. And so I changed that word, belief. And I changed simply to just, I changed differences to discrepancy. I changed this word language. I used the pronoun, the one, that they are already learning. And instead of complete, I said an entire. And in its own right, I said by itself with its own systematic rules. Okay, so that's what it looks like when it's clean up. Core concept in SLA research is that of interlanguage, the belief that the language that learners use is not just the result of discrepancies between the languages that they already know and the one that they are learning, but that it is an entire language system by itself with its own systematic rules. So you have the idea is the same, the words are different. The words in red are synonyms from the original. You still have strings here of more than 5 words that are from the original sentence. So this by itself is not really good enough for paraphrasing. So another thing that we can do then is you change the clauses and phrases around. And I'm going to look at these, the core concept in SLA research, and then this interlanguage. So these two were, a core concept in SLA research is a noun phrase, and then interlanguage is a noun. We're going to move them around a little bit till it looks like this. Interlanguage, which is a core concept in SLA research. Okay, so now we're starting to get a little bit more change to this. You could also do this, right? A core concept in SLA research is the belief known as interlanguage, which is the idea that, right? And so that kind of changes it a little bit more. Or you can kind of turn it on its head and look at, put that at the end of the sentence. The belief that the language that learners use is not just the result of the discrepancies between the language that they already know and the one that they are learning, but that it is an entire language system by itself with its own systematic rules, is a core concept in SLA research called interlanguage. Basically the same idea, but written differently. The words are put together differently. We change the order of things. Okay, you can also, to continue, change the nouns to verbs. The belief can be many researchers believe. Now, I've actually put this into 2 sentences now. And this is a core concept in research called interlanguage. There's no reason that when you paraphrase one sentence, it has to stay as one sentence. You can break it up. You can also combine sentences when you're paraphrasing, which is another good thing to do. Okay. Another issue you can do is change your active verbs to passive verbs. It is believed that the language that is used by learners is not just the result of discrepancies between the language they know and the one that they are learning, but is an entire language system by itself with its own systematic rules. This is called interlanguage and is a core concept in SLA research. Okay, so that's getting a little bit far from the original. Feel free to be creative and kind of do things with it. And I wanted to bring this, turn it back around so the core concept in SLA research was at the beginning. So I started it out like this. The phenomenon known as interlanguage is a core concept in SLA research. It is the belief that the language used by learners is not just the consequence of disparities between languages known by them and the language being learned. In fact, interlanguage is a fully developed linguistic system in its own right. So that's a change. Now you can compare my final paraphrase to the original. And one of the things you can notice right away is that they're about the same length. So this is not summarizing, it's paraphrasing. Okay. So we did a lot of changes. This is a long sentence, and so we wanted to kind of show you some changes. I did change it into 3 sentences. So if you are kind of paraphrasing a paragraph and summarizing a paragraph into a single sentence, a lot of times you'll automatically paraphrase because you have to get this idea down into a single sentence. So paraphrasing and summarizing are similar and they work together. There's more to this, of course. You can use definitions to replace words. You can change your verb tense sometimes. You can change, for example, a past tense to a past perfect sometimes, or present tense to a present perfect. It's possible in certain instances to do this. You kind of have to start playing with it. Play with the language, play with the sentences, but try to keep the core idea the same. That's the key. You want to keep the idea the same. Sometimes I say just read something and forget about it. Just put the writing away, or make some notes, some bullet points maybe, and then think about the ideas and then write it again without looking at the original. We want to try to get beyond the words here. You want to get to the ideas and get the ideas expressed in your own words. Don't be so concerned about changing every word. I've seen students spend 20 minutes paraphrasing 3 sentences. We really don't have the time to do that if you're doing a longer piece of work. You've got to find a way to get faster at it. So one of the biggest problems is doing this quickly. The more you do it, the faster you will get at it. So keep working on it. Keep trying. Try to do a couple things at once when you are paraphrasing. Put some synonyms, change them around, and to use a different grammatical form, and see what you come up with. If we do this and we cite, so we do the paraphrasing and the citation, and that's the cure for plagiarism. Thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.